if we have learned anything over the years from all the car content that's out there, I'm saying like back in the day, Power Block to, Motor Trend and Discovery, and then like all the YouTube channels that are out there now, and Patreon and all that kind of stuff. If we've learned anything from all this content, it's there's way more than one way to get it done, right? In fact, that's actually Morsky's thing. Doesn't matter how you get it done, right? So, which way is the best way? I think that's a situational thing, but that's what we're going to talk about on this week's Tuesday Morning Tech Tip from Pugliese Speed Shop. Situational, subjective, relative, whatever term you want to use, that's how this all goes, right? Like, if you remember those Power Block guys, they seem to never have a strip screw or crazy rust, or they never had any of that kind of stuff, right? That was the downfall, I think, of some of those. Stacy David could just get in there, get it done all by himself, and never stripped nothing, never needed no croil, none of that kind of stuff, right? And we watched it because that was all that was there. And I don't want to say that. That sounds terrible. The dude still rocking the same hairdo, so I mean, he's doing something. He's built some amazing cars. All those guys have. But that's just how they had a half an hour to get it done, right? So they that's what they did. They showed the highlights. And more times than not, it seemed like an unlimited budget, right? They would, parts would just flow in. They had tons of sponsors, all that kind of stuff. And, then we had like the Gas Monkey guys and all those shows that came around like that, we're going to lose the shop, right? Well, that was made up drama or whatever it was. But again, they acted like they didn't have unlimited funds, but they just kept getting these expensive cars, and new parts just seemed to fall out of the sky, right? So you guys seen different ways that I've done stuff, and tons of other guys on YouTube have done stuff. We try to find ways to save some money. You guys got to put this thing all together with waiting on sales and saving on shipping and that kind of stuff, right? And then, we got Chippy's Cutlass over here, right? And right over here is all the parts that we found scouring Marketplace and that kind of thing. Now, if you look on the back, can you see back there? We've got some boxes sitting on the trunk there. Those are new parts that we bought. On Scotty's Ford, forget about it. This thing is every nut and bolt Scotty put on there. And he searched for the right parts, and he searched for all this kind of stuff. All different places. He went Carlisle. The cab came from somewhere in Arizona, I think. I mean, it's been a 30-something year project because that stuff doesn't just fall out of the sky, right? So you might have that question, instead of buying all these things, wouldn't it just be easier to get a parts car? At some point, it's got to be cheaper. It's got to make more sense. You're going to have all this stuff. Why aren't we just doing that? Well, let's sit down and see if we can figure it out together. So I know I've mentioned this before, but the Tuesday Morning Tech Tip, it's usually inspired by some kind of experience I've had recently. For example, last week we went and picked up the cab for the 65. We only needed that one piece, but that was the easiest way to do it. And keep that project kind of slowly rolling in the background. But it's not only that, right? So a lot of times it's conversations or whatever. And last week, Kevin hit me up. You guys know Kevin. You've seen him on the channel a million times. So it's not with a little picture of him right there. Even though he's down in Carolina, me, him, and old Wade are in constant contact. We're always texting back and forth. Things we're doing on our projects, parts we came across, sometimes other projects or goodbyes or whatever it might be, right? So he sends me a link to an ad. And it was on Marketplace. And we'll throw the ad up right here too. It was a, I want to say 84 D100. If you look at it, it looks kind of familiar, just different color, but mine's an 86, and I don't think there's a whole. I think the steering wheel is different, maybe a couple little things on the dash, but other than that, it's the same truck, right? Slant 6, 225, 3-speed on the floor, exact same drivetrain. This one's a long bed, but other than that, guys, it's pretty much, the truck, the same thing I got sitting out there. Except for, if you look, and I don't think you have to look very close, it's pretty dry. I mean, it's a solid truck, right? So, I kind of saw where Kevin was going with this, but I got to break balls. So, I write back to him, I said, yeah, it looks pretty solid, but I don't think I need another one. Because he's usually on me for having too many projects, which he's not wrong. Kevin and I, great friends, but we look at things totally differently, which is probably one of the reasons we get along, because we always got something to talk or argue about, however you want to look at it. Kevin takes one project at a time and he gets it done, which is awesome. I am not that focused or disciplined. We know that. So I have all this going on over here. That's obviously a huge difference. I admire his way of doing things. My way drives him crazy. Okay, so that's kind of where we're at. Just to give you a little background. So he hits me back and says, nah, man, look at this thing. You can get everything you need for your project. He is not wrong. He is not wrong one bit. Like I said, it's very dry, but I look at things different, and we've already talked about that. So this is a long bed. So the bed's not really useful for me. My doors are solid, right? And my floors are not. The fenders are not. The bed is not. The Dodges are known for those around the wheel wells there. I'll throw a picture of mine up here so you can, in case you forget. And it's too cold to open the door. But they're so known for that they actually make that panel. It's like $35. You cut out the rust, you plaster, burn this one in, you're done. Now mine needs all 4 of those. All right. So both fenders are rusted on the bed. The floor of the bed and all that is solid. The frame's legit. Most of the cab is solid. The rockers, there's one on the left side, has a little rust hole. The right side is all legit. Guys, these parts are so cheap though, right? So it's one of the reasons I picked the thing up, because how cheap I can get it. If I screw it up, I don't care, because like we talked in recent ones, I'm not the best at that kind of stuff. So the floor pans, they're $45 a side. And then like it's $35 for each one of the fender repairs panels. So what is that? 70, 140, and 90 carry so $230 for all the metal? Wow. Not bad, right? So that's where my head's at. Kevin's like, dude, I told him all I could use was the fenders. And he said, bro, you were driving me crazy. And I said, why? So Kevin has a saying, and he's not wrong about this one either, that I sometimes have a habit of tripping over $1 to save a dime. I like the saying, and it's accurate. We've talked about it. And he mentioned this too, how many videos did I make putting this truck together when I said I should have just done this? I should have just done this. I'm looking for a new stereo for this thing right now, because the $70 one is a piece of trash, right? So he's not wrong. But I don't really know what else I can. Like he mentioned, well, you got hardware, you got all this stuff, but I have all that stuff, right? And I mean, the truck is complete, other than the brake lines are shot, which all the brakes are shot. But like I said, everything's cheap, right? Rock Auto, all actually like legit stuff, like factory type stuff. I can buy everything from the master cylinder to the calipers, wheel cylinders, everything for the brakes, with the exception of the lines. I don't think they have the lines on there. And it was like $350 for every last part. And then the Stop Shop or any of those other brake line companies got the lines for like $100, $120. So for $500, everything in the brakes is complete, right? And then, like we say, $230. So now I understand that there's a lot of little nickel and dime stuff, right? But I'm not changing the wheels on that one. I would like to maybe lower a little bit, and some little customized. So we'll you'll see as it comes along. But I'm not going to do a lot of stuff I did on this truck. It's because we can't keep doing the whole same thing. I mean, you got to do something a little different. And I think I got that one figured out. You'll see it. You know, Wade's got a plan. You're going to see it. But so I think you want $1,500 for this truck. So let's say like a wheel and deal or whatever, like Kevin was saying. You get it for $1,000. You got everything you need. So now I told you the money side of it. Like my way of doing it, which I went very conservative. I understand that. Oh man, I can have it for under $1,000. I'll have everything I need. Well, that's a lie, right? Because like primer and paint and I'm not saying paint as far as a paint job because we already talked about that one, but welding wire, like all this stuff, welding gas, all this stuff adds up, right? So that's the nickel and dime of where you're going to be $2,000-$3,000 before you even know it because, since I did this, I might as well do that. And that bites in the ass, right? So that's a big deal there. But I told Kevin it's not so much about the money. I'm looking at it and all my brain can see is I can use the fenders and that's it, because everything else seems legit on the truck. All the trim is there, the lights are all there, and the grill is in good shape, all that kind of stuff. But it's not just that. For me, my mentality, I hate throwing things away. I despise, there's nothing I hate more than wasting stuff, right? And you guys know I'm a fan of DD Speed Shop, which Kevin thinks is part of my problem, is I watch what Dan does and I'm like, everybody tells me he's a hack and all that. The dude's got some talent. You can't, he gets some stuff done, but he never throws things away, right? Like how many vehicles did he buy that would just be a parts car, right? And he puts them together and puts them back on the road. It's because he wants some kind of exotic, like his Nomad or something that he's not going to pay for one that's that legit. He'd rather pay for it through sweat equity, and that's fine. That's how a lot of people do it. Now, I'm not at Dan's level by any stretch of the imagination, but I had the problem with the 65. When it got hit, I ended up buying this green one right here with every intention of it being a parts truck. I was going to take the frame, and I think that was kind of about all I really needed was the frame because it was pretty rusty. It wasn't awful. There's way worse ones out there, I promise you that. And that's the problem. I got it home, it had a title, and I actually got that thing running, and it had a cool look to it. And I said, man, I think I paid $500 for that thing. And I was like, man, I can't just cut this thing apart, man. I love hot rod history too much to do that, right? So I tried to do the parts car thing, and I failed miserably because then I made that into a project, and then I ended up trading it and getting the Suburban and all that. And then down the road, I still needed that frame. That's why I got one sitting outside. That's why I looked at complete trucks for a while. And I kept saying, Kevin, in fact, even told me when my 65 was sitting in the corner over there, he said, man, you got a parts truck with a motor in it, dude. That's it. And as we're finding out, he wasn't wrong. I find myself saying that a lot, but as much as I try, I think I've gotten better, but I can't stop the way I feel about that truck's getting saved. Now, it's going to be on a different frame. Every single thing underneath is going to be different. which I wanted to do anyways, right? I wanted everything. I would have been okay with the stock frame, but everything else would have been new, and because I was actually wanting to do all that work anyways. So that's fine. But how we're doing it now, I bought there was just a frame sitting there. I bought that. I bought all new stuff for the suspension and stuff, and then the one part that didn't repop, I was able to find. The only good thing on that cab is the one thing I needed, and the windshield, which mine, I forgot I had to start it, so I might use that one too. But, so if I went and got this Dodge, I already know what I'm going to do. I will have the intention of, hey, Kevin said this is a good idea. You know what, I like the way Kevin does stuff, let's do that. And then I'll probably I think it runs and drives actually. I'd be like, oh, this thing's got a title? Huh. Well, hey, let's make it a shop truck or what. And I'm not going to have the heart to cut it up. Even though it's a long bed, I'm not a big long bed guy. I know there's a lot of guys out there. If nothing else, I get it running, do whatever needed, and end up selling that thing maybe, or trading it off for something else I don't need, right? So it would sit out here, I would mess with it, it would get put in front of other I already know. So Kevin, I appreciate 100% that you're looking out for me, and I know I drive you nuts. But to answer the question, what's the right way to do it? It's whatever suits you. For me, with the OBS here, I got some junkyard stuff. I got some brand new stuff. Nick did the metal work on it as far as the rockers and the cab corners. And he did what he put all the stuff he did on it was perfect for me. And then I came in and finished it up the way I wanted it. And I bought a bunch. I said I bought new stuff. I bought used stuff. I tried buying a parts truck for this one at one point, and that failed because the guy sucked. And then I bought a bunch of parts for it that I thought I needed that I didn't need. I ended up reselling, and it all worked out in the end, right? I remember being very pissed off when I came back with all these parts and found, when I put them next to mine, I was like, what am I doing, right? So with all that, guys, you got to build it the way you want it. You got to build it what works for you. You know how you think. If you're more disciplined than me and you can actually just, then cool. But I was watching BW. He is tearing that Nova. He's got a 70 Nova. He's got the roof. He's reskinning the roof. He found rust in the pillars. I mean, it is, guys, this thing is broken down to parade rest like you read about. And of course, the comments. Everybody's like, you should just get a donor car. You should just get this. The guy is an amazing welder. He's a great fabricator. And he loves doing that kind of stuff. So what do you think he's going to do? Here he did on his 55, so he's going to do it here. Like, you can't change people. You just can't. That's just how it goes. So the answer to the question, well, I think the question originally was, when do you need a parts car? Or what's the best way to do it? Guys, I don't know when I'd ever need a parts car. Like I said, I tried it once, it failed. Do what makes you happy. That's it. And it'll get done, or it won't. You'll move on to something else. Either way it happens. Hopefully you don't move on to something else. Hopefully you don't just sit outside like mine is right now. But I promise you guys, you will see it get done on this channel. And if old Wade has anything to say about it, it'll be pretty soon. And well, Kevin, don't quit sending me stuff. I love looking at it. And maybe one day I'll get the right mentality. Probably not any day soon. Thanks for watching, guys.